Hi, today we're going to show you my natural wood stain that I use on all my wood. If I want a green color, I use collard greens, which I just buy a bag from the local grocery store, put it in any container, fill it with white vinegar. If I want a dark stain, I use coffee. I just use my coffee grounds from in the morning, pour them in, put in double-aught steel wool, a piece of that, into your container, or a sponge, whatever you want to use to apply it with. If I want a red color, I use beets, which I just get a fresh beet from my market. I cut it up, put it in, again, let it sit overnight. This will give me the red stain. For apple cider vinegar, it gives you a red tint. Balsamic vinegar will give you a black stain. And white vinegar will just give you a weathered gray look. After I've let these sit overnight, I take them. I use coffee and beets today for demonstration. This is just a piece of oak, and we're using a small piece obviously for demonstration. I usually use bigger pieces, and I take them outside and just rub it on, and there's no mess. This I dunked in beets, and all I did was dunk it this time. I said, the heck with it. Don't really need to apply it with the sponge or the steel wool. This I dunked in the coffee, and if you have places you can't get to, I use a toothbrush for cracks. And again, you just dunk it in there, and that's the look you get. After I've done that, I let it dry. I apply a polyurethane. And it's a spar urethane. It's an indoor-outdoor is what I use. And how I apply it, after I put my coffee on and let it dry, or whatever stain you prefer, I apply a coat. I take an old t-shirt and a container, I stir up my urethane, I take a ladle and kind of pour it in, dip it into a container, and I take the t-shirt and I rub it on the wood. When the wood dries, which you want to look at your directions on your can on how long it takes to dry, it's usually 2 hours. So I let that dry, I take a dry piece of double-aught steel wool, and I prep it for the next coat. You sand it, prep it. Then, again, you apply with the t-shirt, just rub it on. And the more coats you put on it, the shinier it's going to be. This doesn't have as many coats. This obviously has more. And this is coffee and vinegar. This is coffee and vinegar. This is beets and vinegar. And you can see the lighter tone. This is coffee and vinegar. But what I have done is sanded it down with a rotary sander, so it's brought down the high and low lights. It's brought it back down to the natural piece of wood, and then of course you have the coffee and vinegar stain, which I think looks beautiful. This is coffee and vinegar that I've used just for my flags, and then I spray it or rub on the urethane. What I do I use vinegar for other uses. I've taken rust off, like horseshoes, things I use in my shop, and it actually works really well. I just take a steel brush, a wire brush, and scrub it after it's soaked for a little while. These are some of the things that I also use vinegar for. I use vinegar in your bleach cycle and your washer. It takes static away. It cleans your chrome in your kitchen, bath, car, stainless steel appliances, kitchen hoods, windows, floors, drains, hard water stains, rust, coffee pot, etc. I'll show you over here a piece of the wood that I have used my coffee and vinegar on. And it's a bigger piece, obviously. And then just urethane it, but I made this table. And it's a piece of pine. It's actually a piece of black forest burnt wood from the Black Forest fires in Colorado in 2013. And you can see how beautiful that turned out. There's no odor from this. So, I mean, I know vinegar has a pungent odor, but I want you to know the coffee kind of tones it down and it does dissipate, so you're not going to have that smell. Thanks. See you next week. This is Ruby's Way.